Hello, Gemini, and welcome to your March forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Apollo's resting, so we'll just let him be behind us, but I'll pull his camera up for a second because I know you guys like to see him. Anyway, this is your monthly forecast. Thank you so much for giving me some extra time to get over bronchitis. I'm feeling great. I only like to do readings when I'm really, fully here so that you can get the most out of it. I'll make it up to you by really channeling as much as I can here. To that end, let's get straight into channeled messages. There was some really amazing imagery that came through in dreams and meditation. What I saw and felt actually was the feeling of ascension. And it actually reminded me of this particular Three of Wands. And I felt like someone was climbing up a hill or climbing up a ladder. It even reminds me of that old Kate Bush song, Running Up That Hill. So I felt like there was this amazing uptick of information, and it was almost just like expansion. But then I saw or felt kind of like someone else's energy trying to tug at that. And I think it's really important as you look at the next 4 to 6 weeks to really focus on the relationships in your life and think, who is there lifting you up? Who's championing you? And who is potentially kind of trying to either create blocks or maybe just not supporting you in the way that you need to be? It felt like the best way that I can kind of describe this is someone who it's a fear-based approach, someone who is afraid to let you go. Because you're almost like this balloon that wants to take off, and someone is trying to anchor the balloon. So sometimes there can be a boss, a parent, or a friend that's like, oh my God, what am I going to do without you? Or if you love me, you would stay, or don't leave. But then there's also friends and colleagues and people around you that may say, I'm so happy for you. Go for it. This is what you should be doing. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're physically going from one place to another. It could just be like, moving from one company to the next, or some sort of big personal development where your growth is, like I said, palpable. I could feel this ascension. My message to you is really don't let anybody hold you back. Don't let them dim your light or mute your voice. This is your chance to really shine and to go to new heights. And if we think of the song, now that I'm kind of talking to you here, Running Up That Hill, Kate Bush was talking about wanting to be able to trade places or allow her and her partner to trade places so that they could get a better understanding of one another. And empathy is going to be your greatest gift and tool this month, and being able to understand it and see it from someone else's perspective will help you position your communication and even just your actions in a way that is going to be better received. But suffice it to say, this is really what I was feeling, which was upward movement. And I feel like any of the other stuff, that slight anchoring or dragging of energy, is avoidable. Don't let someone pull you into their drama and take you off of this otherwise amazing energy that I'm feeling. With that being said, let's shuffle the cards and see what else is coming forth. I'm going to use the deck that came to me in my meditation because I feel a connection to it, and I think it's going to help us out today. All right, I know a lot of you might be carrying a lot of thoughts into this reading. Let's let them go for a moment. I'd like you to imagine that you're in the middle of an open field. I'm seeing something that looks kind of like Ireland, just beautiful, rolling green fields. Find a place to sit down. Imagine that the sun is directly overhead and connect yourself to the earth and to the firmament above. In this space, let's call in angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, and set the intention to receive guidance in the highest form. right, let's begin with your catalyst. So we have a really cool card coming forth here. It says Star People, Universal Knowledge. Catalyst, of course, helping you make a necessary shift in your life. And what I was talking about at the beginning, kind of like doing an audit of the people, the activities, the environments that you're putting yourself in and making sure that they're lifting you up. That's what this card is about. So this is a month where if you put yourself in the right places, you have a chance to connect with some of these fellow soulmates. Star people to me reminds me of other people that are in that star energy. Of course, we can look at this as people who have kind of spiritually ascended or advanced or open up their heart and mind. So one of the ways that you could connect is through, practicing yoga, taking a class, studying, teaching, learning, knowledge expansion and exchange. So it doesn't matter which end of the teaching or learning that you're on, it's the same sort of beautiful exchange, because that's really why we come to this planet, is to learn and to help one another. So the more you do that, the closer you're going to get to synchronicities, opportunities, and elevation. It is reversed, so for some of you, it may be a little bit intimidating, or there may be a little bit of self-confidence or self-acceptance that needs to be worked on, and that naturally kind of takes us to the center card here. So we have Lover's energy reversed, which means that you're capable, deserving, and already sort of surrounded by this love energy, but a little bit of acceptance is necessary. Before I get too far into that, the other thing that I see here is an awakening of the throat chakra, your voice, ideas coming forth, but there is some trepidation, some frustration, or some just maybe a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to when and where to take the next step. So that's the highlights. Now let's get into the weeds here. All right, as I said, with the Lovers at the center, it's one of the best cards in the major arcana. And even though it's reversed, it doesn't mean that it's something to be afraid of. It just means, oh, I need to focus first on recalibrating and fully loving, accepting, and seeing myself for who I am. Because if I can't do that, how at all am I going to expect someone else to do it? So there may be a little bit of fear, doubt, uncertainty, or even just self-confidence that is creating that slight anchoring feeling that I was seeing in the meditation. So love yourself. Easier said than done. But this is something where if you need the help of someone else to hold up a mirror, because sometimes we can't see it all ourselves. And they can say, can't you see what I see? This can also help if there's something that you need to work on. Sometimes another person can be a little bit more constructive and hopefully kind in, the suggestion. So mentorship absolutely is coming in loud and clear. But make sure you feel the safety and the support that we can kind of see in this beautiful Lovers card. Whether you're ready or not, there could be a new friendship, there could be a new love interest, or a new alliance that's presenting itself. And I love that we see this Beauty and the Beast imagery, because there's something unexpected, unconventional, or unusual about that. And that could make you take a step back and think, wait, trust what the heart is saying, trust what the third eye is saying. If it looks good on paper but you don't feel it, then move on. If it confounds your expectations or your friends or family's expectations, but your heart says yes, trust that too. There's something unusual, and you just have to lean into your intuition here, okay? Crossing this card is one of honesty, because we have the moon here. It's empowerment, and it's also facing your fears. The moon is a complicated card, but it's a very powerful card. When you're able to face your fears, when you're able to actually release the fear and move on, that's when you fully have the ability to pull in whatever it is that you need. It's the ultimate empowerment. So if something scares you, learn about it. Talk to someone, face it, shine a light on it, until it doesn't scare you anymore. And then you know that you have a firm foundation, you can move on. There are potentially themes of honesty coming forth if you're in an existing relationship. So the person that you love the most, it could be your best friend, it could be your lover, but whoever it is, they could be testing you a little bit or teaching you a little bit this month with themes of honesty. And so be kind and compassionate. Remember, compassion is going to be one of your best traits this month. So Try to understand it from their perspective before casting judgment. And if someone's putting you in a place where they're judging you, say, wait a second, how would you feel in this situation? And have you given this thought? It's a lot easier to sort of be an armchair critic and observe from afar and, than to be walking in my shoes, right? So many songs are going through my head. I just thought of the Depeche Mode song, Walking in My Shoes. So yeah, until you're ready to walk in someone else's or until they're ready to walk in yours, figuratively speaking, nobody can cast judgment really. The moon is also your core instincts. It's like when you feel it in your bones. It's the primal sense of survival and instinct that comes through. Trust it. Trust it when you feel it. Sometimes when you meet someone for the first time and you get that really good vibe, you want to go with that. Or you walk into a room and you think, I need to come back later. There's been an argument here or something. You're picking up on the visceral, instinctive energy that helped us survive back in the beginning of humankind. So trust that. And then we'll talk about this more when we get into health and everything, because there's some other nuances there. But the one thing that I want to highlight right now is honesty. It's going to be so much better to be forthright, honest, truthful, transparent from the beginning, because it's going to come out eventually. Okay? All right. You have been doing the work. There's a lot of beautiful progression going on here. So in the deep past, we have Page of Wands, Environment, Knight, and then opportunities, King. So that means that if there's something that you have been developing, if there's this sort of light bulb that's going off in your head and you're thinking, maybe I should try that or explore that or call this person or whatever. Yes, exclamation point. Your ideas have merit and they're worth communicating and basically beginning momentum-wise this month. So set it into motion. And like a bunch of dominoes, you're headed towards a synchronicity. There might be a couple of other people. This could be a team sort of thing. It may just start to take off. Like I said, you were like a balloon in my dreams. So once we cut the anchors, and for some of you, it could just be, being honest or the fear of being loved or whatever it is. Once the anchor is gone, the balloon can really soar to great heights. I love that some of you also have been working on whenever I look at wands, it's about imagination and creativity. So you might be working a little bit more to develop that part of yourself. Continue to do so. If you have an idea, articulate it or demonstrate it. The Page of Wands isn't always just about talking. They can also sketch it. They can prototype it. They can show it. They can point to another example. You don't have to do all of the work through communication, but you have the ability to communicate in multiple ways. So this is a time to explore it. Nonverbal is what I'm getting with this. All right. These two kind of go hand in hand. So we have a Fool that is reversed and we have the Two of Swords that is reversed. This is actually about opening up your eyes and your mind to something new and being surprised at the path in front of you. And this is taking a step to the side or one step back or a half step forward. Maybe not making as much progress as you would like, but it's progress nonetheless. With a reversed Fool, there's one thing that is really coming through loud and clear, and that is we can't beat ourselves up for the steps that we wish we had taken before. If I had only done this, what if I had seen that? There was a part of you that wasn't ready to see it just yet. You weren't ready before, but you're ready now. And that's what time gives us sometimes. That's what even a setback can provide. It's clarity, it's understanding, and it's okay, by the way. It's okay that it's maybe taking you a little bit longer. Because now you actually have the potential to, we have 3 people here. We have 3 different court cards with wands. So you have the chance to potentially partner up and find a group of people that are on the same page. So maybe you were just aligning to the right group of people or the right opportunity. You never know exactly why certain things happen, so just trust in the process here. A couple of other notes and then we'll get back to the Two of Swords. The most important thing today when you watch this is to take some sort of a step towards your goal, your dream, or your thought. It could be as simple as sending an email, calling someone, or just that aha, oh, I'm going to do this. That's a step. And then tomorrow, bring it into the physical realm. So when you're manifesting something, There are multiple things. The thought is the most important one because it's basically what sets it all into motion. You can speak it then into existence, you can write it, and then you can physically take a step. So tomorrow, do one of those latter three things. Write it, speak it, or do it. Today, it's really just about clocking it in and saying, all right, that's what I'm going to start. Make yourself a checklist and a schedule. Set yourself up so that you know that you're going to do certain steps this week. Because like I was showing you at the beginning, we want you to continue to climb that ladder at your own pace. The eyes, the ears, the senses are open. This reminds me a little bit of Pandora's box without all the negative stuff. Once you open something up, you can't put things back in. So when you know something, knowledge works this way. When you know and understand something, you can't stuff it back in the box and pretend or feign innocence or ignorance. You don't want to, actually. So I feel like there's a knowing that has come out, that has come to your attention. And it is really, the begging is not the right one. It is beckoning you to make a choice. And to make the choice, it's okay to close your eyes like she has done here. You're going inward and you're saying, I'm not going to let others sway me or point me in a direction that doesn't feel right. I'm not going to let something distract me. I'm going to focus on what I know to be true. We had the moon, which was the instinct. You're going to trust the instinct. You're going to listen to your ideas because they have merit. And you're going to stop procrastinating and just take the first step. The Fool is not about doing it overnight. It's just about moving in the direction. And the Two of Swords needs to put one of those two swords down and say, okay, let's do this. What I love about this particular deck that I'm using, if you look really closely, it's like a wave form. If you ever edit your voice in like any kind of editing software, you'll notice that there's these little waveforms. So this is about making sure that it actually gets said at some point. So what I was talking about, think it, speak it, write it, do it. You've got to do something in the latter portion, particularly either writing it or speaking it. I think that's going to open the door up for you. And that's a nice segue into using your voice. We have two cards here. The Four of Pentacles, which is a card of pulling things back or holding back, and then the King of Swords, which is super active. Not just the King of Swords, but the King of Swords reversed. So in the upright position, King of Swords knows exactly what to say and what to do at exactly the right time. When the King of Swords is reversed, sometimes they're just bold and they just say it and it's like, take it or leave it. There is a time and a place for that. And there is something to be said for a person that is just blunt and honest, because you don't ever doubt their alliance or their opinion. It's like, well, that's what they said. Like a little kid is sometimes this way. You know, if they say it, there's no filter. What you might want to do is test the room a little bit. If there is something to say, test the audience, check in, make sure the timing is right. There could be actually a very nice connection between the two of this, which is, I want to say this, but I'm going to hold back one day. I'm going to wait a day and see if I feel the same tomorrow. Or I'm just going to wait an hour and see if I feel the same after lunch or after a walk. So with that, I can actually respect the Four of Pentacles. She's holding back until she gets more information, until the emotions, the swell of emotions have calmed, and until she can see beyond the storm. I just did a reading for the full moon that's happening in March, if you watch this later. And basically what I said was the storm is the distraction. And sometimes we get distracted by sounds, by environmental things that take us off of our guard. So don't get distracted, focus, and then you'll know what to do. A couple of other things here. Now on to the more critical side of these two. The Four of Pentacles protects itself. It's saying what's in front of me, even if it's not enough, I've grown used to, it's predictable, it's the devil I know, so I'll just manage. The King of Swords is coming through and it's saying that doesn't work anymore. And so really the other thing that I'm getting when I'm looking at this is people may be surprised that you are now finding or using your voice. It's okay that when you haven't done it before, sometimes that happens, but the more that you start to speak up, the easier it will be and the less it's going to come as a shock to others. So just know that practice makes perfect. And one of the things that you're being invited to do this month is to speak up more often, and especially when you have a great idea. Maybe there's something that you want to go to bat or to battle for, and I think it's worth it. If it's something that you're very passionate about and you believe in, this is the time. If not now, then when? One of the most important things you can do for yourself right now is to heal. So we have Three of Swords, which can represent disappointment, heartache, even like a physical situation that you're getting through, like sickness or injury, but it's usually more emotional. Whatever it might be, it's important for you to take care of yourself first. It is in a healing position because it's reversed, but it is hard to let go sometimes. So I'm now that Kate Bush song is coming back, running up that hill. I think for some of you, there could be a person that's holding on to a grudge, because that also is what the Four of Pentacles is, or you could be holding on to a grudge, because sometimes pain can be like a blanket. It gives us purpose, it protects us, but it also holds us down, it holds us back, and it's a slippery slope. And when I was seeing the person climbing the ladder, I could also see how in some scenario that energy could pull them down quickly. We don't want that to happen. Let's avoid the slippery slope of anger or resentment. It's okay to have the feeling initially, but you have to find a way to transmute it and release it. When you have anything like resentment or jealousy, oftentimes it is just an initiator for self-improvement. I want what someone else has. How can I work on myself? They did it. I'm happy for them, or I want to be happy for them, but I need to find a way first to work on myself. I've got some work to do. So that's how you can transmute it to get to the point where you're inspired and you're making the work and making the steps. You're taking the steps, right? That's what I see there. Some of you may have also just gotten out of a relationship, or maybe you lost your job, or someone did something and you're just angry. And that's okay. We can't ignore a feeling. I think there's a tendency in spirituality to sometimes just be like, it's all rainbows and butterflies. No, pain is a teacher, but we try to take pain for what it is and not hold on to it forever. So let the pain show you where the healing needs to be done. Then work with others and take your time to do the healing and do the work. What I love, though, is it feels like once you've identified that, released it, we see rapid movement here in the environment. Knight of Wands, someone could be coming toward you with an invitation, with a question. They may want to follow up on the idea that you had. And it's just about allowing yourself to say, yeah, let's do this. I also think that like attracts like. So if you're willing to go halfway, someone else will meet you in the middle. And I feel like this is a great month for compromise, for healing, for progress, for the development of an idea. We have a beautiful King of Wands here coming through in possibilities. So you're actually being set up this month to lead, to also champion an idea or something that you're trying to change, and people will rally around you if you're willing and ready to do that, okay? Mostly I'm seeing a confidence sort of boost here, because we have someone here that's holding back, but maybe they speak up, maybe it's well received, and you start to build on that. The healing piece is the only thing that's going to potentially hold you back, and the emotions. If you act in the moment when your emotions are heightened and you're feeling sensitive or vulnerable, that could be a little tricky, but otherwise things are looking pretty good here. All right, we're ending on an interesting note here in the main Celtic Cross, and that is Five of Wands in reverse. I think you're ready. This is why the leadership card is right beneath it here in the opportunities. Many of you are like, I think there's a better way. We don't have to fight. There doesn't have to be a winner. We can all collaborate and achieve some portion of our goals. It's an end to unnecessary competition. It's an end to some of the lower frequency energies that I was talking about, like resentment or anger or frustration. For some of you, I see just people that are like, it's like a lack of efficiency, a lack of collaboration, a lack of communication. And so if you all just kind of like work together, the next card in this particular suit is Six of Wands. If you can be the one, the glue that kind of brings this group together, I feel like really great opportunities can await you. First of all, it's just going to be a better environment. But anyway, leadership is knocking on the door if you're ready. Like for you to be the leader, I should say. There may also just be a lack of inspiration. If you feel burned out, if you feel exhausted, that is why we're seeing cards here that are showing movement and entrepreneurial energy. Maybe you're going to do something on your own, or you need to have more of a say to be happy. Okay? Let's expand this. We'll get much deeper into it as we go into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start off first with health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. And the crow is coming through here. When I think of crows, I think of the voice that they have. You can hear them. I should say the call that they have. Ravens and crows are loud, but they're also extremely intelligent, and they represent the ability to like bring messages from the other side. So sometimes the person that speaks first or the loudest does get the most attention. If you are consistently the one that is in the back of the room or raising your hand or waiting for your turn, sometimes other people topple over that. So I'm going to encourage, when appropriate, not all the time, but when appropriate, just to say, wait a second, I have something to add, or I listen to you, it's my turn. Use your authority, use your voice to make sure that you're heard. And like the crow, make sure that they remember what you said and how you said it. You don't have to scream, you don't have to be rude, but you do get a seat at the table. And that's kind of what the crow is bringing forth. It's a health card here. So when we're looking at this from the perspective of health, this is about doctors. This is about people in your life that need to hear what is either making you feel bad or making you feel good. So if people are unwilling to listen to those sorts of things, your wants, your needs, your desires, especially in health, that is a red flag. That is a chance for you to potentially look for something better. Let's go ahead and specifically focus on this from a health perspective. You can't ignore things. That's the most important card. The Two of Swords jumps right off the spread. Yes, it can have to do with hearing or seeing, so you can always check out your eyes and ears, but mostly it's about saying, oh, that doesn't feel right. I need to what? Speak up. So speak up and talk to your doctor or talk to your family or talk to whomever about what it is that either doesn't feel right or that you need some assistance with. You get to actually make a change happen by doing that. The Fool card is encouraging gentle movement and gentle changes one step at a time. If you're starting something new, like changing up your diet or exercise, obviously always working with the approval and guidance of a professional, you don't want to change everything overnight. For instance, if you're working out, you start, kind of like using weights, you can pull a muscle if you try to lift too much. If you start exercising and you're going from like 0 days to every day of the week, the same sort of thing, fatigue could set in, or this point where you're like, I can't keep up, this is too much. So slowly add new things in, a little bit more each day or each week, and that is going to be a lot more sustainable. And if you have one day where you don't meet your expectations or goals, that's okay, adjust them. Sometimes, like I said, we're too pushy for ourselves, for our own good. So obviously just be kind to yourself, love yourself, forgive yourself, take it a step at a time, be as kind as you would to someone else. The moon can represent a change in moon cycles. So for some of you, if you're dealing with a lot of stress, that could be, slightly off. This also has to do with hydration. So there's an encouragement here, of course, to drink enough water. And of course, this can have to do with reproductive systems for both men and women. So if anything doesn't feel right, this is the time to take care of all of those things. If you are having a conversation with the doctor, be frank, because this card can sometimes be less than frank, as can this. So you really want to be honest and let them know what's going on. Let's see what else is going on here. Four of Pentacles can show where you're holding your stress. So a lot of times, I'll get the traditional card while we're talking, but it can be one where you're holding on a little bit more in the shoulders, neck, and even around the chest area. And that could have to do with just shallow breathing. Sometimes that's because we get so fixated on something that we forget to kind of take that deep breath in and out and just let it go. So yoga would be fantastic. Just taking a walk and slowly breathing can help too. And sighing, like we hear little kids do, or somebody that's not happy, it is a way for the body to just let go of the energy and get a quick sort of like recharge from all of the oxygen. Here we go. Here's the traditional one. You'll notice that in this illustration, the person's kind of hunched over, really holding on to stuff. And so sometimes what we do is like I was talking about holding on to a grudge, we can also hold on to the tension. You don't realize that you're clenching, that your shoulders are up here, whatever it is. In this moment, just kind of like take a breath, let your shoulders down, disengage your jaw, kind of just imagine that everything is a little bit more even and gentle and not holding on. Do that over the course of this month when you're feeling stressed out. Some of you may be deciding to focus on emotional healing because, like I said, Three of Swords is usually emotions, but it can also be the heart. And in that situation, it's going to be multifaceted. You want to focus on diet, exercise, and stress management. They're all going to help, and getting enough sleep. So it's like a multi-pronged approach, not just three-pronged. In the environment here, we have the Knight of Wands, which for some of you, I'm reading this as your mind is running a mile a minute, because when I think of knights, they're quickly moving, and wands, it's about thoughts carrying me in this direction, this direction, this direction, one thing at a time. Get that list together that I talked about earlier, and I think that's going to help you manage things a little bit better. And just less of a focus or less of a fixation on work. That's what I see here. Let's take a moment now and transition into the energy of wealth, which is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. We have the flame coming through here, and this is like an Ace of Wands, which nicely pairs with the Page, the Knight, and the King. So this is why I think you have the capacity this month to really get people's attention and get them excited about something. You're the spark, you're the flame, you're the one that can initiate it. But it requires all of the other Wands cards that we have here, communicating it, meeting someone halfway, maybe taking the lead here, and being the one that shines that torch on whatever it is that you are passionate about. Okay? One step at a time, one thought at a time, and again, being the light. Figuratively, what we're looking at here is someone that can come to the table with a solution, with an approach, with an idea, not just a criticism. And if someone comes forth and has is trying to put a fly in the ointment and stop you, say, okay, that's a great comment. Do you have a suggestion? Do you have a fix for that? Push them also to come with solutions, not just with complaints. All right, let's expand this category a bit, and then we'll revisit some of this as we need to. So I always like to break this portion down into 5 subcategories. We're going to look at those of you that have a regular job, those that are entrepreneurs. Then we're going to focus on those that might be seeking employment, students, followed by retirees. Okay, let's start with those of you that are currently employed. Limited resources. There's not enough to go around. There's a choice that needs to be made, and it's not always an easy choice, right? There are some sacrifices, there are some compromises. But if anybody can do it, you can do it this month. With the Two of Pentacles, there's a reminder that you can't be in 2 places at once. Try though you may, you're ultimately going to get frustrated if you try to please everyone. And I think, especially with the King of Swords that came through in the Four of Pentacles, it's just about speaking up and saying, no, I can't do this, or I can do this provided that you assist me here, here, and here. So you're either going to say no, make a choice, or ask for what it is that you need. You don't have to continue to try to do it all for everybody. And this isn't just about work. This is relationships. This is activities. And ultimately, it's encouraging you to edit and reduce some of these activities a bit. So as we look at the traditional card here, you're not pulled like this rubber band in too many directions. And this person doesn't have steady footing. So you can manage the Two of Pentacles for a few moments. But if you keep it up the entirety of the month, then you lose your balance, then you lose your focus, then things start to suffer a little bit. Even if you're able to do it all, the quality goes down. Something has to give. So it's important to speak up this month. Let's look at some other cards related to you. Again, I love that the flame is there because it shows ideas. And we already talked about your ability to take ideas to the next level this month. It's loud and clear. You have great sort of like community building and collaboration sort of energy with the lovers and the star people. But for some of you, when that spotlight is shining on you, it may make you feel uncomfortable. I would say, again, just practice makes perfect on this, one step at a time. The other thing that I'm seeing here is possibly some butting of heads when it comes to leadership or communication styles. So if you're working with someone, someone might just constantly say what's on their mind and you are more of the thinker, or vice versa. Both of you are going to have to try to meet in the middle, or you're going to have to try to anticipate what they're doing and maybe change the communication style a bit while working with them. It'll make this less likely. You're going to be able to collaborate a little bit more and successfully get to the next level. The main thing that I just want to call to attention before we move on is it's more of a question. Are you happy? Are you satisfied with the job? Some people, it's more of like a means to an end. It's not the end all be all. So if this is something that gives you what you need to do other things, pursue passions in your life, provide for your family, et cetera, as long as those other parts of your life are also where they need to be, if everything is leaving you sort of lacking or wishing, this is a month to really recalibrate and make sure that you're happy. If you're not happy, I can see why. Again, for some of you, there's just too much work to go around and a lack of leadership. And if they're not willing or ready to listen to you, that to me seems more like it's cyclical and it's something to think about. It's important to speak up and to let people know what you're doing, because sometimes you're so good at what you're doing, it flies under the radar, okay? Don't be afraid to speak up and to communicate your ideas. All right, let's move on. For those of you that own your company, are an entrepreneur, etc., we have the Two of Cups, very good. This is a great time for new partnerships, for launching new products, for getting out there and marketing things. Basically, no matter how you look at it, the Two of Cups is great, but this is also saying like outreach efforts are really important. Solicit feedback from customers and clients. And if you need to get something done, bringing in a business partner could be very advantageous right now. But this ultimately is partnership, love, appreciation, and it's really a compatible card with growth. There might also be people that can all kind of advocate for you, like good word of mouth this month if you want to. The next one up is Three of Cups, which is, spreading the word. Let's look at some other things that you might want to focus on. So it's hidden a little bit, but the Four of Pentacles shows me that you might be holding on to an old way of working or an old way of marketing that needs to be changed a little bit. Maybe shifting up your social media strategy or just your media strategy in general. If you don't have a website or if you don't have a big presence on socials, now is the time to do that. I do feel like some of you are like a best kept secret. Like the people that know, but it feels like you could do a better job marketing, selling, or somehow putting your brand out there. The Moon card is just reminding you here to keep your promises. And if something didn't go right or is going to run late or something like that, it's so much better to get ahead of it and just be honest and then make good with the customers or clients. So honesty is key. And I know I appreciate that in a brand if there's a shipping delay or something doesn't work out, and then they just do a make good with a slight adjustment in price or a coupon. But I really want to know what's going on, and I want that straightforward communication, okay? But ultimately, with the Two of Cups, it's a very good month for you. Make sure you're doing some activities, some outreach, and again, working on the marketing and communication. And like energy attracts like energy here. So for many of you, the Star People card is saying, if you take a chance and you're sort of trying something new, that innovation, that leadership can be rewarded in this period of time. All right, now let's take a look at all of the job seekers out there. We have the Eight of Cups coming through for you, and this represents, for some of you, a second chance. There could be something that you applied to before and the job was filled, but then maybe it opened up again. Something has sort of presented itself where you get a second shot. Take it if you have that sort of a second shot. There could also be a place that you used to work at, and they're hiring again and they think of you and they reach out to you. Depending on your experience there, it could be a yes. I think one thing you want to really be mindful of this month, especially with it sort of hidden under the contract or hidden under the words here, is it enough? Are you getting enough here? We want to make sure you're getting a fair deal, because that is the only Pentacles card and it's on the low side. So don't sell yourself short. Make sure that you negotiate. An interesting thing with this card is it can say, you can give, it's not an ultimatum. It's sort of like a counter. It might take a couple of attempts. Say, I think we're close, but this is really my best and final. Let me know what you think on that. And you walk away and then let them come back. So I see a couple rounds when it comes to those types of conversations. Don't give up if you're not getting what you want the first time. It may take a couple of attempts. Travel may be necessary for the new role that you're looking at. You may decide also to take a trip and explore a different part of the world. This is travel oriented. One thing to be mindful of when we're looking at contracts is how predictable they are. Eight of Cups can be sporadic. So sometimes there's a bunch of things coming through. Sometimes there's this big period of time where there's not enough. So make sure that if you're freelancing or if you're being hired for a contract role, that the term of the contract is long enough for you to pay your bills and figure out what the next one is going to be. And make sure you negotiate something that feels right, so that it's not like every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks you're constantly thrown out there wondering, am I okay? The first one that applies, speaks up, or whatever here, action is key. So don't delay if there's something that you want. Again, they're waiting to see if you'll accept a low offer. Don't accept a low offer if it's really low. Check in on the morale. It feels like that's really important to you. I think this has more to do with like the last place that you worked, but just make sure that the morale is compatible, that there's some good sort of feedback online. And I see just a lot of bosses and a lot of, it feels like you might be stepping into a much bigger company or a much denser sort of group where there's a lot of voices, a lot of people. And the one thing that I'm seeing here is that leadership could be lacking. So check in on the morale, check in on leadership. Can you find something? Yes. It's probably not in the next couple of weeks. It might take a little bit longer. It could take 4 or 5 weeks, but you should be able to find it. But definitely look at the fine print. I think that if and when you get to a face-to-face or a telepresence meeting, they're going to like what they see. Like you'll be able to vibe energetically. It's just a challenge on how to get there. All right, let's move on. Looking at those of you that are students, interestingly enough, you have a card that's associated with learning. People don't always know the backstory for the Hanged Man, but Odin basically decided to hang upside down from the Tree of Knowledge so he could discover the secret of the runes. It took longer than he expected, and it required a little bit of a sacrifice. I'm acknowledging the frustration that many students feel regarding financial burden, the time investment. It's some of the best years of your life where you're sitting in a classroom and you're like, I want to get out there and explore the world. What I'm getting from this card is you're exactly where you need to be. There's no rush to get out into the quote unquote real world because this is the one part in your life where you can just soak it all in and really focus on development and enrichment. Enjoy it if you can. Another thing that I'm getting when I look at this is some of you may feel a sense of stagnation. Let's talk about that. That's a different case altogether. You may feel like your voice isn't heard, that you try to speak up, but you're held back. You could feel like your ideas can't sort of go the distance there. So there are some institutions that are just really conservative. And so if that's the case, see what you can do. Talk to your advisor or your dean, but maybe what you're going to do is a little bit of research and you're going to sit with it for a second. Maybe even because we're mostly through the semester, just finish this semester. But then as you look at the following year, you may be transferring or changing majors, transferring schools, something of that nature. It feels like there's still a conservative nature to this card, and it's saying at least finish what you've started and then take what you can from that and bring it to the next thing. Now let's take a look at retirees. Here we have the Four of Wands, which is beautiful. This is the third love-oriented card. We have Lovers, we have Two of Cups, now we have Four of Wands. Suffice it to say this month, there's a lot of opportunities to meet new people, to connect in a very positive way. And it's also like outreach, not just to meet people, but to be able to make an impact on a lot of different people's lives. The card is reversed, so some of you may be wondering, like, how do I dip my foot back into the pool? We're not even looking at love, but it could be love. It could also just be like, I want more of a social network. I had the pleasure of hanging out with one of my friends last night, and they like to do this sort of networking event every few months. And it was so nice. I'm like, yes, of course. This is how you meet people when you're not in school, or when, like me, you work at home. You have to purposely go out and meet other entrepreneurs or individuals that are self-starters, and you connect. So when you're retired, it's the same thing. This could be sporting events. This could be special interest groups. This could be hobbies, art, anything, politics, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, whatever lights your flame, because that's what we're looking at. Each of you are going to be different here. It could be creative. It could be constructive. I don't care. Whatever works for you. But I think that connecting with others is really, really key. So you would benefit from expanding your social sphere. And I think that's a really nice segue into love, because it's finding its way into this part of the reading anyway. So let's take a look at the Oracle card first, and then I'll do the subcategories. So we have Buddha coming forth here, and Buddha's saying increased awareness is part of all relationships this month, as is a deep connection. Trust in your inner voice. Hello, hello, the moon card. We had that earlier. And then also trust in your physical voice here with the King of Swords. All right, let's go deeper into this spread, and we're going to pull, or I should say this category, and we're going to pull 3 cards, looking at those of you in a relationship, followed by, I'll just do it one at a time. Those in a relationship, followed by those that are seeking love, and then finally, single and happy. We have some interesting cards here. We're going to start off with those in a relationship. 2 sides to every story. We have Janus coming through here, 2 of Wands, which is still a very favorable card. What I like about the 2 of Wands in a traditional relationship reading is it's about making plans, and it's about telling the partner, I see you in my future. I see you in the past, I see you in the future, I see you. And the ability to see somebody and acknowledge them helps to alleviate the 2 of Swords, which was in the crowning position. So what you can do in a current relationship is say, thank you for doing this, or I love this about you. And then also saying, hey, we had talked about making a plan for this trip. Why don't we do it? Are you ready? Like actively observing, communicating, what's the other word here? Acknowledging, and then also kind of like bringing in that person into your future plans as well. All of these things are going to be good. All right, let's look at what else might be going on in a current relationship. You might be on the heels of an argument. There could be something going on with you or with your partner completely separate from the relationship, but there's a little healing. There's a little bit of hurt. Do what you can to meet them where they're at, but what I see here is activities. So like, again, maybe taking a drive, taking a trip, taking a vacation could be very advantageous. I do see differing communication styles. One person shows, one person says. So there needs to be a little bit of leaning towards the middle for both sides. If you're the kind of person that shows up and basically, well, I made you breakfast, I made the bed, I did this, I did that, don't you see that I care? Sometimes people need to hear it. Sometimes when you say it, but you're not following through on the actions, they're like, well, show me. So what we're seeing is 2 different love languages. And so we're going to do our best to try to learn one another's love language and communicate in a way that makes sense. And then sometimes translate and remind them, say, this is how I show you. This is how I say it. And know that. But then also like, but I can try more. Could you try this? Not compensate, but what's the word? Compromise. And that will help. All right. The lovers at the center, this is what I do appreciate. It feels like there is genuine love. It does feel like there's a decent amount of passion. There's a lot of stubbornness. And there's one partner that sometimes walks away. The Fool card can be someone who, when the going gets tough, they're just like, I need to check out. I can't talk about this right now. Or someone that just goes radio silent. Neither of these are good. That's in the past. That's a tendency. Let's not bring them into the present or the future. Overall, pretty manageable. relationships or work sometimes. I don't see anything here that makes me worried other than the moon, which is just being honest with one another, okay? There may be a desire to hang out with a larger group, and that could be really, really great. So mixing, mingling, doing some things as a pair, and meeting mutual friends could be really, really great. Let's move on to those that are seeking love. Can you find it? Yes. We have an earth sign energy coming forth with the Page of Coins. What's interesting with this is you may meet them through work or through a common activity, because pentacles are very, very related to those two things. Let's look at what else is going on. Are you ready right now? Because this indicates some healing. This indicates some healing. This is showing that loving, accepting, and celebrating yourself is important. This is showing that your heart may still need a little bit of time. There are many energies coming forth. You're not at a lack of elements. The only thing missing here is water. So can you find someone? Absolutely. I think you need to take a little bit of time first, and then being really clear on what you want is so important in this moment in time. And what you're looking for may be right in front of you. I'm going to look at the awareness here, and to me, I'm just seeing someone in the periphery as we're talking. So you might be at a cafe and someone's trying to get your attention. You might be at work and someone's watching from in the distance, wondering like, how do I strike up a conversation? It's not a weird way. It's just sort of like someone that's shy. That's what I'm getting. Intuitive hit, separate from all the cards, but then I saw awareness and I'm like, oh, that's what it's about. The fact that it's a page could show that there's a little bit of a maturity gap. And so be mindful of that. There could also be a child attached to this person, but anyway, I feel like the healing piece is the most important. Heal yourself, work on the self-confidence, and then look around. What you're looking for is a lot closer than you might think. Finally, those that are single and happy, we have the Four of Cups. The cup in this card that's hidden is in the background. So this is often a blessing in disguise. We tend to focus sometimes only on what we can see or what we already know. The Four of Cups reminds us that the universe works in mysterious ways. Sometimes, again, this is right in the same line of thinking of what I just was talking about. Sometimes what you're looking for, it's right around you. It's right around the corner. So if there's a goal, a dream, something that you want, it's so much closer than you might imagine. Other things that we can look at for those that are single and happy. It feels like this month, this is productivity. That's what I'm getting. Whatever you want to do, you're going to level up. I think that the biggest challenge for some of you is there still may be a lot of familial pressure. There may be a new relationship or friendship that comes through even though you're not looking, or especially though you're not looking. And, it's just going to be a time and energy management challenge. Okay. Let's now look at the final category of destiny. We have Poseidon coming through here. The card was reversed, so some of you are feeling the need to break the norm, go counter to the flow. And it's almost like a Hierophant in reverse, if you will. It's okay. If you want to be the change maker this month, be the change maker. This is also like the King of Cups coming through. And if the King of Cups is in reverse, this is what I've been talking about with respect to healing and forgiveness and confidence. We really want to work on the heart first and foremost. Once you've got that, everything else is going to fall into place, and then you can be into this sort of like empowerment energy of Poseidon. All right, now is your chance to ask one final question. It can be anything that you're still wondering that I haven't had a chance to look at here in this general reading. Let me give the cards a shuffle, and then we'll see what Spirit has to say. It's a yes. We got a lot of pages today, I'm noticing. Page of Wands, let's see, Page of Coins, and now the Page of Cups. So swords is all that's missing. So can you get this or do this, or is it okay that this is basically a yes? Now, it's interesting that this little rabbit has a, basically, a string that's close to his ankle. Make sure that there's no strings attached. So yes, comma, but read the contract if you're signing something. Yes, comma, but make sure that the communication has been accurately decoded on both sides. Then and only then should you move forward. And because we're looking at a card that is related to relationships and love and fun, also make sure that you're empathizing, understanding the other person's point of view. That's going to help you out. This is a great period for creativity, for having some fun, and for opening up your heart. And that, my friends, is everything. Thank you so much for giving me, again, a little bit of extra time to make sure that I was at my optimum best to give you the best reading that I could. A couple weeks ago, my voice was gone. I didn't feel good. It wouldn't have been good. So better to wait a week and get something high caliber and high quality. So thank you for that. If you'd like to join, oh, by the way, a great way to show love and support is if you're brand new, hit subscribe. It's free. It just allows you to get notifications. In fact, you can control the frequency of it by clicking on the bell icon. Optimally, you should do all so that you don't miss anything. And then remember to hit the thumbs up. Also comment. Let me know what you're going through and what resonated with you. You can follow me across all major platforms at Nicholas Ashbaugh. You can also follow me on Blue Sky at nicholasashbaugh.com. That's also my website, so you can go there if you need more news and information. If you'd like to give back a little bit extra, you can do so with joining the channel, giving a super sticker, super chat, and all of these things allow me to do extra bonus readings and basically upgrade my equipment occasionally. So thank you in advance. Also the podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't already checked it out, it's on the podcast tab. My latest guest was Matthias DeStefano, so make sure you check that out too. And I think that's everything, folks. I just want to say I really appreciate your time, your presence. You have a lot of choices here on YouTube, so thank you for allowing me to be a part of your month ahead. From my heart to yours, I wish you the best. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.